I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 118, Rally Challenge 2000. Released in 1999, this game was developed by Genki and published by South Peak Games and She-Cat Interactive. We've had quite a few racing games now, but not so many rally car games. There was obviously Top Gear Rally, as well as MRC Multi-Racing Championship. It's all about drifting and bumping walls, baby. I never was much of a racing game player growing up. With the sheer volume of them on the N64, I've improved a bit on them as opposed to the start of this challenge, I'd say. Will this one be a breeze to get through, or will it be frustrating? Let's get into it. Upon starting the game, I loaded the main menu and there's literally no options menu. You want to customize your playing experience? Well, too bad. Play the game the way we want you to play. Championship was the thing that looked like the main mode of the game, so that's what I went with. It pops up with the different cars you can race as. They all have different stats in speed, torque, and steering. There's the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution V, Subaru Impreza WRC, Toyota Corolla WRC, Nissan Almera Kit Car, Seat Cordoba WRC, Skoda Octavia, VW Golf GT1 Mark IV, Proton Wira, and the Hyundai Coup Evo 2. I went with the Seat car because it had pretty balanced stats. Then it pops up saying the first race is Australia. That's a big place, wonder where we're at. There's a menu where you can fine-tune the aspect of your car's tires, steering, suspension, and gear ratio. The F1 racing games had this kind of thing, and it's so confusing without analyzing the manual for a while if you're not familiar with racing cars. This one is at least fairly basic though. I just left it all default for now. Then we finally get to drive. Very early on, there was another car in front of me, and it was just spewing dust over the entirety of my screen. At least, I hope that's dust. Get out of the way, man! Doing any kind of big turn will cause your car to drift. It makes sense for a rally car game, but man, it's hard to not hit the walls. If you so much as bump into one, your race is essentially over because you take damage. The image of your car on the left shows where your car has taken damage, and the effects are very noticeable. Like if your left side tires are damaged, your car will try to turn right, even if you're telling it to go straight. When both wheels are damaged equally, it kind of works out nicely though. So the way this mode works is you do a run of 3 laps on a track and your lap times are combined for a final run. Upon finishing, it shows your stats and how you stacked up compared to the other players. You get points based on what place you finished in a typical fashion. The second course is Spain, where it's raining. Hey, what gives, man? We're driving through the city. I thought the rain in Spain fell mainly in the plains. The fog due to this rain is abysmal. It is so hard to react to an upcoming turn. Real awesome when your car takes damage for bumping things too. Since I got 6th and 7th place in the first 2 races, I decided this run was dead and quit out. Might as well try out the arcade mode to see if it's any different. Immediately, it was. Instead of just jumping into things, it had me select either easy, medium, or expert with 3 tracks in each. I went with the Proton Wira this time as well because it had the higher steering. And man, I was struggling to steer earlier. In this mode, I also found an options menu. Granted, after reviewing this footage, it was hidden in the championship mode as well, but I don't understand why they don't just put this in the main menu. These are generic game options, nothing specific to the mode that you're in. It's just a strange design choice. There was also no sub-menu to fine-tune the car's settings. What you see is what you get in arcade mode. The first race is Australia again. As soon as we started, I was greeted with a beautiful sight. There was no damage indication on the left. This means wall strats are back on the menu. Also, rather than just doing 3 laps, it's an actual active race. There are 9 cars and you race to get first, like you'd expect. A timer counts down and you're awarded more time by passing through checkpoints. I thought I was doing pretty well, but by the time I finished the race, I was in 7th. In rally racing games, you typically start in the back and have to catch up to all the other people. Race 2 is in Spain, just like before. This time I started in 7th place. So essentially you have 3 tracks to make your way up to first. I kind of like that. The turning in arcade mode feels so much nicer as well. It seems the devs didn't know whether they wanted this game to be a realistic sim game or a fun arcade game. Well, I definitely prefer fun, so I decided to stick with arcade mode. Look, I'm biased, but I just do not like realistic racing sims. Maybe if I had one of those fancy rigs for iRacing or whatever people are playing these days. Anyway, I ended this one in 5th place, so it's going to be tough to make it up to 1st. Course 3 is Great Britain. This course is super foggy, even without rain, but come on, there's a perpetual overcast there, so this one actually kinda makes sense. There was one part of the track where it felt like I was driving through a castle courtyard. What kind of road is this where we're going through all these structures? This is some awful city planning. I didn't do the greatest here, and I ran out of time. It allows you to continue, which just starts you back at the race you were on with no penalty. This was awesome because it created a way to have an unintended retry system. If things were going horribly, I could just intentionally run out of time and try again. After getting wrecked by England a few times, I decided to just reset the entire thing. It's probably too hard to climb to 1st directly from 5th anyway. Like any good gamer does, I blamed everything but myself for my failures. It was obviously the car that was the problem. I switched it up to the Seat Cordoba this time since it had a high torque stat, essentially more acceleration. The results were near instant. If I bumped into a wall, I'd get back up to speed much faster. I was running into them even with the higher steering, so this just makes sense to use. I finished 6th place in Australia this time, big improvement. Then in Spain I made my way up to 4th. If I could just pass 3 more people, I'd take the win. Not only did I have plenty of time available to reach all the checkpoints, I moved into 1st with a good bit of track left to go. I made my way up and that was it. It plays a small cutscene saying congratulations and it shows a big trophy. And then the credits played. Oh my god, I already beat it. What a quick win. Nah, come on, that would be ridiculous. Now when selecting the level in the arcade, it shows the trophy on easy. I could also toggle it to do a mirror mode race. That's always a nice easy thing for them to add to racing games to throw in some bonus content. Guess it's time to jump into medium. The first race here is in Italy. Real quick, I'll talk about the graphics and music in this game. The graphics are about average, I'd say, although there is one specific thing that stands out. The reflections in the windows of your car looks way better than it has any business looking. For the N64, that's some pretty good reflection. The frame rate of the game's not so good, so maybe they used too many resources on those windows. The music's pretty bad as well. It's super generic sounding and it just repeats the same loops every 10 to 15 seconds. It gets old fast. You can't separate the sound effects volume from the commentator volume either, so you either have really quiet commentary or sound effects that are obnoxious. Anyway, this track has you going along the shoreline. There's some ads along the wall or something weird. This looks suspiciously similar to the first track in Top Gear Rally. I finished in 7th place here. Not great, not terrible. Next up is Brazil. Brazil starts with this flat-out dirt road where civilization seems to not exist. It's not so much that the dirt makes it harder to steer, just that the turns are all pretty intense. The entire track is in this jungle setting. This is probably the most boring course aesthetics-wise because it doesn't change the entire time. At least have like a tree or something, come on. The final track on medium is France. This one starts driving along some cliffside or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it reminds me of a stage in one of the Tekken games. I have no idea why. I timed out here on my first go. It's a pretty rough track. The road is barely big enough to fit one car, let alone two, so whenever you go to pass someone, there's just no room. My second go at it went a bit better, and I snuck in and got 2nd place at the last second. 2nd is good and all, but it's sure not 1st. For some reason, it still plays the credits even if you get 2nd. But whatever, I wanted to get 1st. I'd say getting 1st place on all these arcade modes is my clear condition for this one. I struggled here for quite a while. It wasn't until I finally got 6th on the first race that I had a chance. To make it to 1st place, you need to pass 3 people in 2 races and 2 in 1, so it makes sense. The second race felt impossible to get 3rd on, so 4th place would do here. Just need to pass 3 people in France. I did pass 1st place, but there was a problem. I ran out of time. Now this just flat out doesn't make sense. Like, yes, sure, I ran out of time, but so did everyone else. What are we all, just losers? And the organizers of the race just make fun of us or something? I just don't see the logic here. Anyway, I took first with a few tries and that was the medium level down. Now it's time to go hard. The first race is Germany. It starts off in this cobblestone street. Peeling out the tires can't be good for this road. It then transitions to a dirt road in the middle of nowhere with back-to-back U-turns. These are so hard to do well, but the AI struggles with them too at least. After slamming it into the wall and running out of time, I could tell the game had stepped up quite a bit. A consequence of the AI struggling with the harder turns is they turned into all-out battles. We're just slamming into each other over and over. After 5 tries or so, I finished Germany in 6th place. The second race is Canada. As you might expect, there is snow absolutely everywhere. There's this one part where you drive through a stream of water which just seems so dangerous. Like just flash freeze the tires or something. The later part of the race has you driving up a mountain where the roads are covered in snow. Traction is non-existent here, and luckily for me, the turns are insane. It feels so impossible to drive in this. Must be what it's like when it snows in Texas. Somehow, I finished this race on the first try in 4th place. Maybe this won't be so bad. Spoiler, it was bad. The final race is USA. Ah yes, the USA, where everything looks like the Grand Canyon apparently. Feels like I'm going to see Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner if I look over the ledge. This one is so annoying. The roads are so thin and slamming into the wall just slows you down so much. I didn't even make it to the second checkpoint before timing out on my first go. Like I said before, you can just try again if you time out, which is nice. Worse than the walls are the other cars. Like look how thin this is. How am I supposed to pass this guy? Not to mention there's dust covering the entirety of my screen. Upon getting to the end of the track, the first place car was nowhere to be found. I switched cars and had a run where I actually saw the guy in first place at the end. Victory was there, maybe I can do this. Despite how close that one was, I just could not get this closed down. It felt like I was doing worse and worse. Sometimes I'd switch out the car, but I knew deep down that it didn't matter. I just had to play better. There was even a point where I got so fed up with losing, I did what every kid did in racing games back in the day. I turned the car around and went the wrong way to crash into the other guys. And you know what? It still feels very satisfying. Someone should make a game where your goal is just to go backwards in like a race, like an F1 race or something, and then you just cause chaos and get points, like the anti-F1 racing game. That would be fun. I was trying to finish the second race in 3rd place, but that felt even harder than just going from 4th to 1st in the final one. There was more running out of time, intentionally of course. Sometimes though, I just couldn't slow myself down enough to the finish, which meant I had to go all the way back to Germany. I was getting beyond tilted at this point. It had been over 2 hours on hard. I finally had a run where I caught up to first place on the final turn. I just had to sneak past and oh my god, why did I ram him? This sucks so much, just get me out. But on the very next attempt, magic happened. When I passed the first guy, I actually used his car to ricochet me past the tight turn. Micro optimizations like this help a lot. Coming into the second checkpoint, I had a clean pass of the guy in second. Just gotta clutch it out now. Oh, get some! Yes, dude. This time, the bonk went in my favor. It felt so satisfying. Kind of like I was slamming the other car out of the way because my god, I've earned the win by this point. 2.5 hours of grinding this out. I had now finished first place in the arcade mode on all difficulties. There's still mirror mode as well as the championship mode, but you know what? I'm considering this my clear condition for this one. I've done enough. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Rally Challenge 2000. This is a pretty unremarkable racing title. It's not exactly a bad game, but it's not good either. 9 tracks in total is pretty solid, I'd say. They all look quite different aesthetically, although they play pretty similarly. I think a big problem with this game is just how little room there is to move. In rally car games, you're drifting all the time. This leads to the walls being rammed into way more than they should. It's also strange that they included a simulation mode in this. For me, I want a rally car game to feel like chaos, and suffering from damaging the car is counterintuitive towards that. Maybe other people would want a realistic type of experience for this game, but I don't know. I'd say this is not a game that's really worth checking out unless you're super into racing games. I gave it a 3.5 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 5.5 out of 10 for difficulty. Mostly, it was about finding the right car for the job. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Have a sneak peek at the next game. So there's 272 on the list. We will see what we get. 3, 2, 1, go. 99? What's that? Actually, what is it? I don't know yet. Oh man, we're playing N Fisherman Bass Hunter 64. Heck yeah, baby. But yeah, if you made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. It helps the channel a lot. And if you like this series, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one.